Hello everybody! Today we have an interesting review. Yes, we are still reviewing a Godzilla toy, but this is from Toho. This ain't Monsterverse. This is an old, classic Mechagodzilla design from 2004, and if any die-hard Godzilla fan watching this video, just remember, I have seen the movie. I remember watching Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Was it that movie? I don't remember. I remember it was Mechagodzilla fighting Godzilla and Rodan. Godzilla starts fighting Rodan first, and then Godzilla fights Mechagodzilla. And then I think Mechagodzilla actually beats Godzilla, and then Rodan kind of fights Mechagodzilla, and then Rodan dies. And then he gives his power to Godzilla to turn him into Burning Godzilla to eventually defeat Mechagodzilla. I think that might be the second movie. This design might have been from the first movie because this is from 2004. I'm not sure if this is not Kiryu. No, Kiryu is a different one. Any hardcore Godzilla fan, please update me in the comments if I get anything wrong here. But this is from Bendai, and I actually came across this at a local comic store when I was going to downtown the other day, and I saw this in the back, and I thought this actually looks interesting. And I do want some Toho Godzilla figures for once, because they always have Monsterverse stuff. I gotta remember where the Godzilla IP even originated from. So today, we're going to be looking at Bandai's 2004 Mechagodzilla toy here, and as you can see, this is the tag in case you want to take a look at all the information, because now I am going to take this off so this is not in the way when we review it. One thing about Bandai toys is they're not meant to be high-end stuff, because Bandai has also done SH Monster Arts. Those are the high-end stuff. So the price I paid for this, as you can see right here, was 40 Canadian dollars. It is a little bit pricey, I will say, but before I judge the value of this figure, let's look at the figure itself. So for 40 bucks, what do you get? Well, you get a light-weighted figure that acts very well as a toy. There is articulation, and it frankly looks pretty good with the color scheme. It is a silver with a little bit of gunmetal gray contrasting it, and the eyes are yellow. Very different from the Monsterverse's design that looks a lot like a Transformer. Now, I actually do have or had a Bandai Monsterverse Mechagodzilla toy. I reviewed it back in 2021. And I think I sold it because I looked through my collection before filming this video and it wasn't there. So I think I might have sold it or gave it away or something. Either way, it's not on me anymore. So the best thing I have is the SH Monster Arts Mechagodzilla to compare it to. Now, I think this is size accurate because I believe Monsterverse Mechagodzilla is the biggest in terms of size. So this is somewhat accurate, but obviously this one's a lot more high-end and higher quality because of the price tag around this figure. So it's not, I would say, not really a fair comparison. So I'm just really here to show that how much has the look and the appearance of Mecha G has changed over time. And I don't know if they've made any toys for the Ready Player One Mechagodzilla. Maybe they did. I'm sure they did. I just don't know where to look. But this one, as you can see, from its old design, I actually like it. I like the Monsterverse design. It looks so badass. But some of the old classics, there were some old Mechagodzilla designs I wasn't really a fan of. This I'm a fan of. I like this one because it does look like old classic Toho Godzilla with the way the dorsal plates are shaped. It actually looks like Godzilla's actual dorsal plates. That's what had me sold on this design. And I think in terms of the old Toho Mechagodzillas, this one definitely is my favorite from 2004. Now, back to what I was saying, as a functioning toy, this has a lot of playability. So first, articulation, you can see it has on the arms right here, so you can move them back and forth, but it is limited to only the arms. You cannot move the hands or the elbows, and you cannot open and close, like do shoulder movements, so you're only limited to a forward and backward motion like that. Head articulation is there, but it's only at the actual head. There is no articulation at the actual neck area, as you can see. So you can have him look side to side, so that's pretty good. And then legs, I'm not sure. I don't think there is. Yeah, there's no leg articulation. There is 0 leg articulation, so that's a downside. But there is tail articulation. You can, swivel the tail all the way like this. So yeah, it's a pretty neat toy, and obviously you probably won't find toys like this in Toys R Us. Maybe in like third party or just independent toy stores, they may get these in, or collectible stores. I got this from a comic book store. So that gives you an idea where you can find these toys. So $40 with a figure with limited articulation and no leg articulation, but it looks pretty good. And there is no packaging, as you saw. You buy this figure like this with the tag attached to it, like a stuffy. So does that mean the quality of it is bad? Absolutely not. I think this is like in the fine line of a high-end collector item and a cheap toy. This sits in like the gray area of it. And overall, I do like this design of Mecha G simply because of the colors and just how close it resembles to the real Godzilla. So I like it. Also, I like to point out some of the details here on the printing. Despite the limited articulation, they do not skip out on the budgeting when it comes to details. You can see there is some gunmetal gray countering it with, the wires and all that. That is actually pretty sick. And yes, there are toenails for this Mecha G here. I mean, Monsterverse has it too. On one arm, there is, I would assume this is shoulder armor because it doesn't have on this side, or it just could be closed. So a little bit of contrast. And then the body is also pretty solid too. Also, the head, I really like the head design here. It looks pretty badass, and the yellow eyes work well. And I just think overall, the tail, despite no other colors except silver, it is simple enough. It's plain and it looks good. Sometimes you don't need many colors to add detail to a figure, because they've accomplished that detail through the texture. You can see down the tail here, which is pretty solid. So overall, this is a pretty solid Godzilla toy. Any like old school Toho fans, I'm sure will like this. Now, $40, I'm not gonna lie, it is a bit expensive. Especially, this feels like a $20 action figure I can just purchase. And with no packaging especially, it does feel a lot cheaper. But in reality, 40 Canadian dollars, I would say it might have been too much. So, maybe tone it down to 25 or 30, to counter inflation and all that. 30 seems fair. 40 was already quite skeptical. I think it might have been too much. Obviously, I didn't really think much of that when I purchased this. But I don't know. I feel like old school Godzilla toys are good if they can down the prices a bit. They can make more figures like this. This is a pretty good toy compared to like Monsterverse here. This one, the SH Monsterverse figures. A lot of people won't be able to afford it because the price tag is quite high on these things. I remember this Mechagodzilla was like $200 when I paid for it. So yeah, safe to say, a lot of high-end collector's items are actually not cheap at all. Goddamn. And so out of 10, this 2004 Mechagodzilla, I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. It's 8 out of 10 actually. 8 out of 10. I actually like it. Just articulation in the legs will be fantastic. And price. Price is definitely a big topic around this figure. But I think Bendai figures overall are roughly around that price, but I definitely think it could be lowered down, especially when you have it's not that big. Like, I'm pretty sure you can buy this for your kid and they'll have fun playing with it. Also, it's quite durable. There's not a lot of fragile parts like SH Monster Arts does. So maybe tone down the price and we will have a pretty solid figure here. So yeah, let me know if you want to see more of classic Toho designs for some monsters. Also, there's a lot of Toho monsters that have not been in the Monsterverse yet. So let me know what you think. And of course, if you want to see my review for the Monsterverse Bendai Mechagodzilla that I did back in 2021, even though I don't have the figure anymore, obviously the review is still here. So check in the top corner screen here, end screen, or link in description. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.